Hello to the people of YouTube. Welcome to the NBA Strategy Show presented by Yahoo Sports. It is Tuesday, November 26th. We've got a relatively tame two-game slate that locks at 8:30 tonight. So, a little bit of a different day. We're going to check out some of the lineups from last night, take a very thorough look at the two games today. But first, I'm joined by Adam Scher, a.k.a. Ship My Money. What's going on, Adam?
How's it going, man? At least, for a two-game slate, it seems like we got lucky again. It's at least two games that are worth talking about, have some good players in them.
Yeah, Mavs Clips is just good in general. Nuggets Wizards is certainly good from a DFS perspective. It should be
second best offensive team in the NBA, facing one of the best teams in the West.
I mean, however you need to spin this for yourself is fine. 108.25 implied total for that offensive team, too. Lowest of the slate.
Yeah, well, the Nuggets are good.
That's also very true. Could be a long night for Beal, but we will get there. I've got lineup study pulled up, but first and foremost, shout out to Yahoo Sports for being the presenting sponsor of this show. That's the only place that you can become a baller. And on this Thursday, it's the only place that you can become a turkey. The 75K turkey trot is being run on Yahoo this week. This is Thursday's NFL contest. There are 130 entries left in this contest. $10 entry fee to get in. Negative 50% management fee. They've got a $75,000 prize pool on a contest where they're taking in just $50K. I don't know if this is true or not. I thought I read this somewhere. This is the second one that they've put out. The first one already filled. I don't know if that's true.
Possible. If they did, I didn't see it.
Yeah. You will not find a better contest anywhere in the industry than right here. They are adding 50% to the player pool. You cannot beat this. It's the best contest in the industry. It's probably the best tournament we'll see all year in any sport for anything. I would be surprised if we could ever see anything better than this. You should get in this immediately. What you really need to do, I'll pull up the link right now. Head to Emacs Cash Games article, which I'm dropping into chat right now. At the bottom of the article, there's a link that you can click on to sign up at Yahoo. Use the promo code Asimo and get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. That's 3 entries into a contest with a negative 50% management fee. A lot better than the normal 10 to 15% you see everywhere else. So I can't stress this enough. The best contest going. Try to get in here as fast as you can. There's 130 spots remaining. I have no idea if they'll open up anything else, but you should really, really, really go out of your way to get there quickly before this fills. Too good. It's just too good. I've got a lineup study pulled up for yesterday. I've got the excellent 8s pulled up. Tinky Tyler taking down the 100K. Take a closer look at the lineup, some of the exposures. Let me go ahead and shrink Adam and I down a little bit.
Shout out to Tyler for not taking me up on my preseason bet before the season of overall tournament profit this year.
Would have been tough to come back from, at least.
Yeah, we were going to do it like the day before the season. He's just like, yeah, honestly, I just don't care enough about NBA.
Fair enough. Malcolm Brogdon, the most owned player in the excellent 8s last night, 64.9%. Alex Baker had 100%. You had 100%. Can't say I blame it. He just should not have been priced at 6K. Very silly. Anything to add on your 100% Malcolm Brogdon? No regrets on that one, I'm sure.
No, just it was one of the easiest plays of the year, I think, and it was just a situation where like he was 64% owned or whatever he was, and that was just basically if you play the slate 1,000 times, it's basically just 30% of the lineups are dead.
Yeah, he still hit 35 fantasy points, 5 point. It was just a pedestrian output for Malcolm Brogdon, but no-brainer spot. Here's the question for everybody in chat. Who got Wanamakered? Not great. Not great. Clear across the board, too. Not even just like a bad DFS performance. He was negative 22, plus minus. Just, by all accounts, just an absolutely dreadful outcome. 38% owned Brad Wanamaker on DraftKings. Alex had 26. You had 47. He became a little less necessary once all the news started coming out in that final hour. Still a fantastic point per dollar play, value that I wasn't trying to get away from. FanDuel was the spot where you really had a hard time getting away. He was the only pay down option on a site where you have to play 2-point guards. So the structure of both of those ended up being slightly different. But
I think almost the most frustrating part, like in addition to how bad he was I was on Tremont Waters. I had like 10%. And then when Wanamaker wasn't starting, I was like, he's the backup point guard. So like Waters might not even play. Waters ends up coming in because Wanamaker gets 3 fouls. And then they're like, oh, wait, yeah, this guy is good. We're going to start Wanamaker and then have Waters play. So I swapped off, in addition to having a bunch of Wanamaker, I swapped off all of my Waters when Wanamaker didn't start.
Yeah, that's just brutal. Yeah, the first thing that I went to when I opened up my phone, I looked at the box score. And I knew at that point, like I'd been awake for a while. So I knew that Wanamaker was killing everyone, but I was already in bed then. I went to see if Waters went crazy, just like to know if we were going to have something to talk about. He played well in his minutes, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't like a ridiculous DFS. It still would have been good for his salary, obviously. Like in my case, I had tons of Waters, tons of Giannis, and then I ended up losing my Giannis and my Waters.
Oh, yeah. You ended up with 0 Giannis.
Did I really? I thought I had like 8% still, but that makes sense.
Zilch, which is not great when he goes for 83.5.
It's not.
Jason,
yeah, I had at lock before late swapping. I had 40% Giannis.
I think I had like 24, but we're going to get to that in a second. No Larry Nance for Alex, 4.8% Larry Nance for you. That stands out to me that both of you were not there.
That makes me feel a lot better.
What do you have any concept of what was causing like that big of a discrepancy compared to his ownership?
I just didn't think he was that good of a play.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I mean, your answer could have just as easily been like, I didn't try to do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't have been upset if I got more. I thought he was fine. I thought that he was way, way overowned. When he plays next to Kevin Love, he's below a fantasy point per minute guy. I expect him to get the backup center minutes, which are more productive, and which is where I'm pretty sure he just went absolutely nuts. So that makes sense. But like his salary had come up from Love being out the last game. He's going to be popular. Yeah, I don't know. I thought he was fine. It wasn't like he projected poorly. He just didn't project that well for me. And also, I had really high projections on other power forwards like Sabonis that were making me not need a power forward either.
Yeah, 74% Sabonis last night for old Ship My Money at 10% ownership. Looked really good early, that's for sure.
Blowouts suck.
Well, you should have planned for that.
Yeah.
That's a really big... Is that your second most owned? It is.
Yep.
Any regrets at having that much Sabonis relative to the ownership?
Not at all. I thought he was one of the best plays on the slate. I tried to make him the cover boy of my article, but we didn't have a picture for him.
Fair enough.
No, I mean, that was one where, like, there are a lot of times where I'll get a lot of someone and then I'll see their ownership and just be like, oh, shit, like, I messed up. That one, when I saw his ownership and knew where I was immediately, like, texting people, like, why? What are people doing?
I'm really curious to see how much I had. I agree. He was a great play at 8,100. That Pacers team was just super weird. When I started digging into them, I couldn't really figure out like who was going to get like the haircut, so to speak. They had, at that point, they finally had 5 legitimate starters in their lineup, and sometimes seeing how those pieces fit together ends up kind of difficult on my end. I end up making adjustments flat across the board to everybody. So I was struggling a little bit. I mean, Brogdon didn't count. His price made it so that it didn't matter who was like the main benefactor. He was going to be fine at 6K. But I just didn't know how that was going to shake out between Sabonis, Lamb, Warren, and then Miles Turner. So
I was actually looking at Popcorn Machine now. I was actually close to perfect on my minutes for Indiana.
Nice.
I mean, excluding the blowout thing.
Right. You were on pace
but yeah,
for it.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I was with you. Like, my thing was I wasn't really concerned about the starters. Like, I didn't have much trouble being comfortable with them. My biggest question was like, is Aaron Holiday really going to go back to DNPs after how well he's played?
Yeah.
If not, what's going to happen, because I don't think McConnell DNPs, and I didn't know if they would like play them alongside each other all that much, but they did. So that was like the one big question I wanted to answer, but it wasn't DFS related.
Yeah, I didn't mean that I had everybody at 30 minutes or more. I had no issues with any of the 5 starters, but just like the distribution of usage becomes a complicated equation for me like that, where I don't really know how it happens.
Yeah, like I don't know how you do it. In cases like that though, I basically, and I mentioned it on the deeper dive yesterday, but like for lack of a better word, I kind of just try and put like the alphas on the floor together, which in this case I think would be Sabonis and Brogdon, and just try and get like the biggest sample size that I can, because obviously if you ran like all those starters together, you had like an 18-minute sample size. Even if you went Sabonis, Turner, Brogdon, it was like 87 minutes. But I kind of just try and think it through, like which guys do I know the offense is running through, which guys are shooting, and then I can kind of go from there. So like I was able to get Brogdon and Sabonis's rates alongside each other, and then kind of just guesstimate on Warren, Lamb, and Turner, who I thought were going to be secondary options anyway.
Yeah, my expectation was that Warren would become like the most secondary, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah.
The tricky part with those sorts of guys are if Warren gets hot in the first quarter, he's probably going to continue to shoot. Like,
right. I mean, and that's always just the issue when you're talking about a team that has multiple talented scorers. Like, on average, Warren and Lamb are going to be 20 to 22% usage guys. Turner less than that. But when TJ Warren is hitting all of his mid-range floaters, he's going to keep taking them. And when Lamb gets hot, he's going to keep shooting. But that's why we use standard deviation and stuff in our projections too.
For sure. Top lineup, as we mentioned: Tinky Tyler, Brogdon, Marcus Smart, Carmelo Anthony at 4% ownership, Larry Nance, Jared Allen, Schroeder, Giannis, Enes Kanter. I don't have to feel too bad about not being in this contest. I would have just finished 5th, but as chat had mentioned, I grabbed a mini-max yesterday, which I'm very happy about. I spent the entire hour of office hours running crunches and making tweaks to my DraftKings process, so I'm going to attribute all of that to office hours, which you guys can catch at 1 p.m. Eastern every Monday. And I got to give a shout-out to Keith Mason right now. $10 super chat. Josh, thanks to your player pool discussion during office hours, I trimmed my pool and took 2nd in the mini-max on DK, 3.5 points behind you. Appreciate the team's hard work and insights. So there we go. It's on the screen right now. Josh Engelman, number 1. K Mason BX, number 2. Watching our stream.
Must be nice to be in tournaments I'm not allowed to play in.
It's fantastic.
No, I'm just kidding. That's really minus EV this season.
It is really nice. It's a lot easier. Like by many multiples.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously.
Yeah, I love it. I hope that I'm able to continue that for an extended amount of time.
I was looking back at my exposures too, because I knew there were other guys that I was blanking on with why I didn't get the Nance. Torian Prince, Jason Tatum, Melo, I had 31%. I had 30% Jabari. Not going to talk about the 32% Blake. I actually didn't like that. That was one where I did not want it, and I saw it and was just like, this isn't good. But yeah, there were just so many Fords that I really liked where it was really easy for me to just not get to Nance.
Yeah. On the other side, I ended up with 60% Larry Nance, which was quite the massive number. Didn't get to the 100% Brogdon. I was basically just with the field, 76.5. 17% Brad Wanamaker helped. That was not an intentional thing at all. It just so happened that once the DeAndre Jordan news came out, it was just like one additional piece of value in the middle of everything to make lineups a little bit easier. Only ended up on 15% Whiteside. That was another big change from the Jared Allen news. I was pretty heavy on him on the dummy crunch before that. So it helped that Wanamaker bombed for sure. 83% Enes Kanter. That one scared the hell out of me. It ended up working out. I didn't know what to do with him in Time Lord. I ended up having a lot of them, and then in that 7 to 7:30 window after Gobert got ruled out, I trimmed down the amount of Kanter plus Robert Williams lineups that I had because I didn't realize how many I had while I was on Live Before Lock, and it was really
you were playing them together?
Not intentionally.
Oh, okay.
So we talked about it, and I was like, look, if I run 150 and I get 3 of them together, I don't think that there's like any problem with that. If you get 30, then I think that's probably too many. And sure enough, at 658, I looked at it and I was like, oh, I've got a lot of both of these guys. Oh, they're probably together. And they were both together. So
Yeah.
I went back in, used Late Swap Optimizer, filtered down to just my Robert Williams lineups, and then made sure that I wasn't coming out with that much overlap to Cantor after that. So I had to go in and fix it a little bit, which made it pretty easy once Gobert went out. It made it a little bit easier to get to someone like Tony Bradley and not really change the structure of the lineup all that much. What did he finish with? Because I know he went
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get. He's another one where he just doesn't project well for me. So I really hope Gobert hurries up and gets back.
Oh, I didn't. He finished with 30.75. I think he had all of that in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did because I got a message because I had mentioned to someone that even when I put Tony Bradley in, he wasn't really getting to my lineups because like a 4K center on that slate wasn't really that helpful. And then I get a message from him like right before halftime, like I think it would have been helpful.
Yeah. When I projected him, I assumed that he was going to just fly to the top of everything on my recrunch, and I got him in 1 out of the 40 lineups I had, and I was like, okay. Then I took a look at it. I was like, all right, this is fine. I mean, I'm going to bump him up a little bit more. I only
gave him 24 minutes, so
I think I gave him 22.
Yeah,
something in that neighborhood. Ooh, just punched the mic. I've got coffee all over my face. Struggling here. Lineup that I had, just in case anybody is curious: Malcolm Brogdon, Marcus Smart, Giannis, Larry Nance, Jared Allen, Kelly Olynyk, Enes Kanter, and the guy that submarined me, even though it won, Alec Burks, 17.5 fantasy points. Black. It could have basically just been anybody else in that game, and I would have been in good shape. Ended up finishing 5th in the and one, which I guess some people were sweating for me. I was sweating the back of my eyelids. It is a great way to wake up, I'll tell you that much. Wait, this had a dupe? Oh, interesting. I didn't know that I also finished 4th with a duped lineup, but someone else also had the exact same score with an unduped lineup. Crazy how those pieces fit together sometimes. Alrighty, I think that's probably everything to hit on now. I think it's about that time to talk a little Tuesday 2-gamer. I'm ready if you're ready.
Yeah, let's go.
Alrighty, here we go. First game of 2. Ooh, let's make us bigger again. That'll work. Actually, that won't work. Close enough, though. Transform. Reset. There we go. All right. Mavs Clippers. 112.5 implied total for the Mavs. 115 for the Clippers. So 2.5-point favorites in Dallas. This is the front end of a back-to-back for the Clippers, so we will get some news at some point in time whether or not Kawhi is playing. I have him in now. If he plays today, he won't play tomorrow, and likely vice versa.
Do you think there's a chance to do that with George too?
Like split him?
Yeah, like one plays today, one plays tomorrow.
I doubt it, but maybe. I'd be surprised.
Yeah. Also, I'm guessing Kawhi plays today since he wasn't on the injury report.
I get where you're going with it. I think he kind of like transcends all of those decisions.
Yeah. So do I. But like in that situation where they're very clearly going to sit him one of the 2 days, I could be wrong, but I thought they'd been pretty good about being like, this is the one.
I mean, they've already been fined for it once this year, so
yeah,
we'll see how good they want to be about it. What do you think? You think he plays this one?
I would guess he plays this one.
Okay.
This one, they're not at home tomorrow, are they?
I don't know. Let me look. Tomorrow they've got Memphis in Memphis.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter in that regard. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a coin flip, but I would guess this one.
You think he plays this one or sits this one?
Plays this one.
Yeah. I mean, this is the one he should play given the two. They should beat Memphis one way or the other. So they could probably sit them both and still be the favorites. Luka Doncic is $12,500 on FanDuel, 11,400 on DraftKings, 20,300 on Fantasy Draft, and $54 on Yahoo. What are you doing with your boy today? How does he stack up overall for this slate?
I mean, the hard part, it's not what to do with Luka. It's how do you get to him? Because I don't think he's overpriced. Like, the guy's averaging over 1.8 points per minute this year. It is obviously a tough matchup against the Clippers, but still a healthy 113 total for the Mavs. And we know he's going to do everything when he's on the floor. But it's like, where's the value coming from on this slate to get to Luka?
It's a tough squeeze. That's a big time number. Let's see. Have we got an ownership yet? No. Tom, if you're listening, if you could run ownership, that would be great. Yeah, it's right. I mean, right now, you're going to be playing some guys that you're not super stoked to get just to get Luka in a lineup.
Like, if I just quickly ran like optimal lineups from my baseline projections for DraftKings, and Luka wasn't in them, even though he obviously projects as one of the best plays on the slate.
Since we obviously have a ton of time, I'm going to do the same thing and see if I get him in any of my optimals.
Yeah, I'm adjusting his rates now to see kind of, because my baseline rates on him are a little bit lower than his actuals. So I'm seeing if I get him in once I adjust.
All right. Top 5 lineups for me. Full exposure, no randomness. I get Luka in all 5. So clearly I like him more than you do. Maybe you want to just put those socks in the mail.
So now I have him at 36 minutes and at the correct rates, and he's in 100. He's in all 10 of my top 10 lineups. And so as far as value goes, it's looking to guys like Zubats. Okay, yeah, I mean, Troy Brown's 3,500 on DraftKings.
Yeah. Dwight Powell, 4K. Gary Harris, 4,200.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that are showing up for me.
Can always count on DraftKings to make it easy to go stars and scrubs.
Yeah. Paul Millsap, 5,400. I got 1, 2, 3. In the 5 that I ran, I got 5 guys in all 5. Millsap, Harris, Porzingis, Thomas Bryant, Luka Doncic.
I got Luka and Gary Harris were the only 2 in all 10.
Yeah. Gary Harris is going to be in a lot of stuff for me today, but we'll be getting to that in the future. I would assume that you and I are on the same page here and that Luka is our highest projected scorer, and it's not close.
Correct.
How do you feel about Porzingis? 8,500 on FanDuel looks good. 6,900 on DraftKings looks silly. 12,900 on Fantasy Draft. $33 on Yahoo. Any problems at all going to the zinger?
Nope. Love the DraftKings price tag. He was in like 8 of those top 10 lineups I just made. The rebounding numbers have been getting better, which is good. He's never been a great rebounder, but his rebounding totals at the beginning of the year were beyond bad. So it's good to see that trending up. Second highest rebounder on the team now behind Luka, excluding Boban. So that's been good. He had some blocks, he adds some peripherals. So I think that the salary is just too low.
That's craziness. On FanDuel, where he's 8,500, he's still kind of on an island for power forwards. You have Kawhi, $1,700 more expensive. You have Paul Millsap, $1,900 less expensive. I would say like Porzingis might be one of my favorite plays of the day today. Both
I agree.
sites. Got to get the zinger. After that, it gets kind of dicey. Dwight Powell has been booty hole this season. Real bad. 0.66 FanDuel points per minute over his last 30 days. But he is 4K on a day with very little value.
He has the lowest usage rate on the entire Mavericks team, and he has an 8.5% rebound percentage.
I'm sure they're really happy right now for that contract extension they gave him for no reason whatsoever. Yikes. That said,
God, I didn't realize he was 28. I thought he was like 24.
What do you think about him for 4K today?
He'll be in some lineups just because of the price point, but I have no confidence in it.
Yeah.
Like he played against Houston, he played 26 minutes. He dealt with some foul trouble, or he would have played a little bit more. But the problem is just that he's doing nothing. Like Porzingis is getting rebounds. He's not involved in the offense because you have Porzingis and you have Luka. Like he's just standing out there doing absolutely nothing. So you're just hoping that like there's still value just because of the minutes. And there's going to be some games where he just runs into a double-double with 10 and 10 or something, or he gets 3 blocks or something like that. So there's still value there. It's just that this is not the point per minute guy that it was last year.
No, it's not. Yeah, in my base rates, I have him as a 0.92 FanDuel point per minute guy, and he is performing at 0.66, which I would guess is probably the biggest gap of anybody in the league this season.
Yeah, when I get his when I put his actual rates for this season in today, I get him down to 0.7 points per minute.
Yeesh. It's brutal. It's real brutal.
Like, would you rather play him or Maxey? With Powell being $300 more expensive on DraftKings.
It's really close. Probably Powell. But
so actually, I said that
really
Powell
tough.
I said that Powell lost minutes to foul trouble against Houston. I don't even know if that's the case because if you look closer, so Powell plays his first stint for 6 minutes. Maxey comes in, picks up 2 fouls in 2 minutes. So then they bring Powell back in for Maxey. He immediately picks up another foul and then also goes to the bench, which gave Justin Jackson playing time. So I think you could actually make an argument that Maxey was the one that really lost minutes to foul trouble. He played the final 19 minutes of that game too.
I just don't know what to make of Maxey's minutes. 25, 19, 14, 28, 38, 18, 33, 23. Like this dude, it's...
Yeah.
I mean, clearly on the day that he plays 28 minutes, I'd rather have Maxey, but
right.
That's not how this
works. He closed both halves over Powell last game, if that matters, which I don't necessarily think it does.
Yeah, I don't... It should matter. I don't think it matters to Dallas.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like Rick Carlisle's just going to do whatever he wants, and he's trying to find things that work and things that don't work.
So did they play? They played against Houston, which again is a smaller team. I think you can kind of use them as a proxy for the Clippers. They played a total of about 7 minutes alongside each other. Potentially could have been more if they weren't both in first half foul trouble, but all 7 minutes came in the second half.
Okay. So what do you have? What are you expecting for Powell's minutes in relationship to Maxey's minutes today?
I don't know, man. I'm totally guessing. 20. So if they played 7 minutes alongside each other, you would be expecting them to play around 55 minutes total, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, that seems kind of high, but
no, yeah,
28 and I don't know, 28, 28, 28, 26. 28 for Powell, 26 for Maxey, 28 for both.
I have less for both guys right now.
So do you? I mean, you have at least 48.
I gave Boban 6.
Who the hell is Boban playing against?
Zubats?
Yeah, but Zubats is playing just starting a starting stint. So,
I mean, I don't know. They gave Boban 2 runs because Seth Curry wasn't healthy. So I'm not particularly sure how they decide who gets put out.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely fair. Yeah, that's fair.
I felt more comfortable giving Boban 6 than going higher on Powell and Maxey and thinking well, this is just going to be the bed that I make for right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my thinking there is just that because of the rotations that the Clippers run, you get Zubats to start, you get Zubats maybe to close the first half, but assuming Boban doesn't draw the start, he's not matching up with Zubats, and he shouldn't be matching up with Harrell.
Right. I mean, would it shock you if they started Boban and he played 8 minutes?
No.
Yeah.
Nothing Carlisle does with a starting lineup shocks me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Especially now that they've given us advance notice that Tim Hardaway is the starter going forward. He needs a new position to screw with.
Yeah. Yeah. Curry not back in the starting lineup, sticking with Tim Hardaway. Actually, I saw something regarding that today. Not the what you're talking about, but when I was looking at cleaning the glass, the lineup data I meant to leave it open, and then I just didn't. Let me grab this here because I know that I can get to it quickly. So, yeah, this is it. So this is the third most used lineup for the Mavs this season. It's Hardaway at the point, Doncic, DFS, Porzingis, Dwight Powell. Again, third most used lineup. They are plus 44.9 in 107 possessions with a 147.7 offensive rating. 100th percentile.
That's pretty nuts.
They have been going... Now, look, this is obviously a small sample. They're shooting 68% effective field goal percentage, so they're running a little hot. But with Hardaway in that main lineup, you're getting just... They've been real nasty. The other two lineups that have been played more than that, you swap Maxey and Dwight Powell, and then you swap out Hardaway for Curry. So
it's so weird to me how Cleaning the Glass's data doesn't match up with NBA.com.
Cleaning the Glass removes all garbage time possession.
Right, yeah, I'll say, what is it, garbage time and like half court shots and stuff?
Yeah, they take out all the garbage, essentially,
yeah,
literally speaking.
Yeah, so because not that the conclusion's any different. Like NBA.com has that's the starting lineup with a 40.9 net rating, 143.6 offensive rating.
Yeah. Does it say how many possessions?
51 minutes.
Okay. Pretty close to 102 possessions then. We're basically at 2-1 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like basically right now I'm going to get Powell and I'm going to get Maxey. They are the next two guys in line on DK. And any additional minutes that I give them, it's going to have like pretty monumental changes to my exposure. So that's just something that I'm going to learn a little bit more of as we go throughout the day. Projecting Maxey's minutes it's just so difficult.
Yep. I do think I prefer him to Powell though, just because I think they at least have comparable minutes ranges, and Maxey's just the more productive guy, not to mention that Maxey has power forward eligibility.
Okay. I think it is interesting that like Maxey's only been 1/10 of a fantasy point per minute better than Powell thus far this season.
0.76 to 0.64.
Yeah. So you would expect it, like I just assume that it's that much better, but even Powell being a complete dumpster fire for a month, still not even that huge of a gap. You looking at anything else from Dallas? Hardaway, Wright, Curry?
So Hardaway now, I mean, God, he played 38 minutes against Houston.
That's the next thing that I was going to ask. I don't know what to do with his minutes. I gave him 26, which feels like hella wrong.
Yeah, I'm going higher than that, and the reason is that Jalen... All right, did Jalen Brunson get hurt, or did he just play 1 minute? Because if he just played 1 minute and then never came back in, I'm pretty confident going high on Hardaway's minutes.
I have him
also
for
Maxey's questionable for
2.7 minutes. Unless you're just saying 1 minute as like a general concept.
Yeah, I was just...
Okay.
Yeah.
If you were saying it like that, I was like, oh, then I guess Popcorn Machine's just wrong.
No, Popcorn Machine had 50 seconds, so...
Okay. Yeah, I've got him in for 2 minutes and change.
Yeah, so does Riddle World. Okay, so how many minutes did Hardaway actually play if Popcorn Machine's wrong?
I have him in for 38.2.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, so anyway, if Brunson had kind of been not having a big role in the rotation anyway, so if he's just not going to be part of it, that's good. Like they used Curry was Doncic's backup, which had been Brunson's role. Hardaway took over the starting spot, and then you had DeLon Wright basically being Hardaway's backup and then playing some minutes alongside him also. I think 32 plus for Hardaway is completely reasonable.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and bump that up and see how it looks right now. I certainly have minutes to go around and shave shit from Justin Jackson, Jalen Brunson, whatever. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to take 2 off of Justin Jackson. I'm going to take 2 more off of Jalen Brunson. Give them all to Tim Hardaway, which takes him to 30, just to see how it looks. He still doesn't even look terribly great.
I think there's a chance the Mavs run an 8-man rotation, barring foul trouble.
What do you think's more likely, that they run an 8-man rotation or an 11-man rotation? Because I think it's probably the same on both sides. I get where you're going with that. It looks like that could happen.
Right, because like Justin Jackson only got minutes last game because of the fouls to Powell and Kleba, and then Brunson basically didn't play. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to be aggressive on Mavs minutes today because I think there's a chance that their core guys play a lot.
And then you could look at Friday's game with just Curry out, where they played 13 dudes, including Ryan Broekhoff and Courtney Lee, and Barea got 12.
Well, that game was a blowout too, though, right?
They did it the same day. They did the same thing the night before, only Barea didn't get in, so they played 12 guys, including Courtney Lee and Ryan Broekhoff. I don't know how to manage these idiots.
Well, the game before they won 2 straight games by 40 points.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was 2 straight.
Yeah, Cleveland and Golden State.
Oh yeah, the Golden State. Yeah, Wednesday was the Golden State Luka beating.
But I mean, still in the first half, also against Cleveland, they played 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 guys. But Boban got minutes in that game. Brunson and Jackson both got first half run. Yeah, it's been a mess. But
obviously, Luka and Zinger are fine. And you can probably talk yourself into different amounts of Hardaway, Powell, DFS, Maxey, DeLon Wright, and Seth Curry. Like, Curry's not starting. Is 3,300 for him on a 2-game slate really crazy? Maybe not. He's been bad.
Wait, what was your question?
Like, can Curry be viable today at 3,300? Probably.
Yeah, can he be? Yeah, like Hardaway gets in foul trouble or something.
Right.
Or Luka dies.
I'm just trying to think of like all the pieces that it's hard to get away from here, but
because like Curry's in that last game with Hardaway starting, Curry played, it looks like, about 1 minute alongside Luka. That's not really the guy that you want to be negatively correlated with.
No, not at all. I don't know. It's weird. Luka, get as much as you can, I guess, is probably the best way to say that. It's going to create a very specific roster construction.
I don't think it's that difficult on DraftKings. Like, with it being a 2-game slate, I think you kind of have to put a priority on the guys that are going to get a lot of raw points. And there are enough cheap guys where, they might have question marks, but you have, talking about being max entry guys, you have that many lineups for a reason. I think that it's probably more beneficial to be rotating through like every single piece of value that is reasonable, as opposed to being like, oh, well, I'm just not going to play a lot of Luka today.
For sure. Yeah, find your spots then too. Luka and Zinger, full stop. Hardaway, I would say, is more viable on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel.
What's his FanDuel salary?
54.
Yeah, 5K on DraftKings.
Small forward as well. Whereas, is he shooting guard small forward on PK or guard forward?
He is, guard forward.
Okay, so more valuable on DraftKings.
Yeah, I'm trying to get his numbers with Luka on the floor this year. I assume that they're not very good as far as rates go, not efficiency.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that they're pretty good as a team.
Yeah.
Now I just want to see how they are as a team. That's the only having 2 games where you can just kind of do this and we can play. Let's learn about basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are plus 29 in 433 possessions.
I also enjoy the shows like these where we talk a lot more when I actually went to bed the night before and I'm not still struggling from
struggling the word you're going to use.
Yeah.
Their offense has been sick with Luka and Hardaway on, although I'm assuming that it's just Luka on is also straight dirty.
Did you see the stat that Lofty tweeted yesterday about the Mavs?
No.
So if you sort by offensive rating for guys that have played or averaged at least like 20 minutes per game, number 1 offensive rating in the NBA, Dwight Powell. Number 3, Dorian Finney-Smith. Number 4, Tim Hardaway Jr.
Which is
number 2, Luka.
The crazy part about that is just how good the Mavs bench notoriously is. You don't see that sort of split for teams like that, but I guess that's what happens when JJ Barea is not healthy. Not fully healthy.
Hardaway's played 123 minutes alongside Porzingis and Luka this season. He actually has a 20.2% usage percentage, which is actually higher than I was expecting.
Yeah.
He's averaged 1.06 DraftKings points per minute. Effective field goal percentage is 64.7%. So that should be coming down. You would think.
Yeah, you would think. I can't believe how good they've been with this trio on the floor. They're plus 35 with those three guys on, including 99.2 points per possession defensively, 96th percentile.
For context, in 557 minutes with Dallas last season, Hardaway's effective field goal percentage was 48.9%.
Oh, I shouldn't have been taking a sip of coffee on that one. Bad. So bad. All right, let's check out the Clippers side now. Clearly, Kawhi and Paul George at the top of the heap. 10-2 for Kawhi on FanDuel, 9,500 for George. On DraftKings, they are 8,800 and 8,200 respectively. Who do you prefer here? I think I know the answer, but
yeah, you definitely know the answer. PG.
Yeah, thought so. Hard not to. These guys are going to dominate the ball. If they're both on the, obviously, if Kawhi is out, Paul George is going to look pretty damn tasty. If they're both there, they're still clearly viable. I prefer Paul George to Kawhi.
Actually, I don't know. So obviously, it's only 2 games, but they've played 2 games. With both healthy. Kawhi still has a 33.5% usage rate. George is at 26.7. I'm looking now to see if it was like consistent across the 2 games or if one of them just 28.3 and 27.4 for George. Leonard was 31 and 36.6. Rebounding. Yeah, rebounding percentages are comparable or almost identical at 8.9 for George, 8.3 for Leonard, 22% assists for George, 25.7 for Kawhi. Even though it's only 2 games, it kind of seems like the rates have balanced pretty quickly. And at least not saying like, obviously we don't know if this is where they're going to end up, but they're at least like at a reasonable point right away.
We just got a good question from Rico Ross, and I think it's relevant on a day like today. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George in the same lineup?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Especially
on DraftKings.
I don't have the FanDuel price in front of me, but on DraftKings at 8,800 and 8,200, I think that's fine. Just kind of thinking about it from like a broader sense, the one issue that I could see running into is, so let's say you have Kawhi plus George, and so you're trying to get, let's say 55, 60 points from each of them, ideally. That would be a really high scoring game. You don't have the money to get Luka with them.
No.
So now you're setting up a lineup where you need a really high scoring game where Luka is not the reason that the Mavs are scoring a lot of points.
Probably one Porzingis in that spot.
Right. Yeah. But again, with it being a 2-game slate, you have limited options. Like it's still fine. That would be the one reason I think it's kind of not great, but it doesn't have anything to do with Leonard and George. It has to do with the rest of your lineup.
For sure. On FanDuel, it's probably a little bit more difficult to go 10-2 Kawhi, 9,500 George. But there's just not enough value out there to do anything else. Do you have any interest in Lou Will at 6,300, assuming Kawhi plays?
Yeah, I think that's just a really cheap price tag because his medium projection obviously comes down, but it's still Lou Will. He's still going to have these games where he just can't miss and shoots a ton. In the 2 games since Kawhi and George have been together, he still has a 25.9% usage rate, 27.9% assist percentage. So those numbers are down, but it's not like he's just standing in a corner now. I think that the price tag is adjusted appropriately.
And I would say then there's no like statistical evidence to back this up, but if Lou Will is cooking, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George seem like the type of guys that are going to let him continue to cook.
Yeah. Also, you can play. You won't be happy with the rest of your lineup, but on DraftKings, you actually can play Luka, Kawhi, and George together. You have 43.20 per position left.
Yeah, that's going to get real gross.
You end up playing you're going to end up with Maxey or Powell. You're going to end up with Gary Harris.
Luka,
and then you have 46.
Kawhi.
You can throw in Troy Brown as a value.
Paul George.
Yeah, you can make it work pretty easily.
I got to Luka, Kawhi, JaMychal Green, Maxey, Zinger, Monty Morris, Paul George, Gary Harris. Probably going to
I
hit
mean,
all.
mine's a hell of a lot better than yours. I mean, and I was just quickly like clicking guys in,
Yeah.
but like Luka, Kawhi, George, either of Maxey or Powell, Thomas Bryant, Gary Harris, Troy Brown, Zubats.
Yeah, yours is better. This
But
one's
the
not
point
bad.
being, like,
I got one
so
here.
like Rui's 4,500. Mo Wagner's 4,500. There are Isaiah Thomas is 4,600. There's so many cheap guys that probably don't do well, but have a very clear path to how they smash their price point. You could probably make like 50 high upside combinations where you just lock Luka, Kawhi, and George if you wanted to.
That'd be ballsy. What else do you like from the Clippers here? Like, I don't think that anything stands out. Maybe $4,700 Pat Bev.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. He's in that same category where it probably doesn't work, but the minutes should be there. Obviously, should probably spend some time on Luka, you would think. Not that he has to, but Harrell's price is at 6,700, which is kind of mediocre for me. Zubats could play like 20 minutes instead of 14 here. 3,900 for Zubats on DraftKings isn't terrible, I don't think. Especially if he's going to be lower owned than Powell.
And I would expect him to be probably.
Yeah, sort of.
And I don't necessarily think that Bev needs to be guarding Luka, considering they also have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, no, he doesn't need to. I just kind of figured that he would.
I mean, Luka's going to get a nonstop barrage of real difficult D. God, it's going to be fun to watch.
They're such a good team.
They really are.
Like, is there anything with the Clippers where you're just like, if they had this, they would be great?
No.
Or do they already have it?
I mean, there's a case to be made that you want someone other than Montrezl Harrell for this particular team.
Yeah.
But it's not like a necessity. It's not a need. It's just like a re-optimization of a team where like Harrell's skill set isn't necessarily best for them.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
If his skill set was like the inverse, where he was like, all he could do was roll to the rim, but he was really solid defensively, I think that would probably be better for the Clippers. But I don't know. He's also like, they can sit one of these dudes, and for 18 minutes a game, Lou Will and Montrezl Harrell are going to be like the most devastating pick and roll combo in the league. And it's just like, cool. They're just going to eviscerate us no matter what they do.
Yeah. Is there a point in the playoffs where they just don't play a center?
And go Bev,
Lou,
Shamet.
Shamet, George, Leonard George.
Probably. Depending on the team. Like, you're not doing that against, like, I don't know, the Lakers. But like against the Rockets when Capella's not on the floor, sure. Yeah. They're really good. They're really good. To be able to have guys like Rodney Magruder as just like filler. The perfect guy to have as a wing rotation dude.
Yeah. JaMychal Green.
Yeah. I'm sure the Blazers would love to get Mo Harkless back.
Yeah, and they're just like afterthoughts on this team.
I don't really have a ton of interest in the Clippers side of this game.
Mine is basically Kawhi, George, and Lou Will.
Yeah. What opens up if Kawhi is out?
George, Lou Will. It's a boost for Harrell. Yeah, I mean, it's a boost for everybody, but it makes Lou Will a phenomenal play. It makes George probably the best play on the slate.
Does that open up JaMychal Green or Mo Harkless for you?
Minutes wise. Yeah, and they're both so cheap that, yeah. So if Kawhi is out, I think the biggest minutes boost is probably to Green. But it doesn't have to be, is the thing.
When Kawhi missed that 3-game stretch, Green went for 21, 22, and 18 minutes. Harkless went 18, 29, 31.
Okay, then probably Harkless.
Yeah. Although Magruder also got 36 in one of those games.
Bev was out too, right?
For 2 of those, yeah.
Okay.
For the game that Bev came back, Harkless played 18, Jermichael Green played 20. They gave Terrence Mann 20 minutes.
Yeah. My thought was that Harkless is already starting, so I don't know how many more minutes he gets if Kawhi's out.
Yeah, I don't know. Weird to pick through the Clippers, but let's keep it moving now. Perfect opportunity for everybody to hit that like button. Kind of a thin day today, given the slate and just the 2-gamer. Golf season is on hiatus, so we will not have Ben and Tim today. Also, shouts again to Ben for the Monster NFL Day. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Coming up after this at 11 o'clock, Laffy and Sal will take the first look at Week 13 in the NFL. Jake will have his NHL stream at 4. The boss man, Alex Baker, will have his game plan stream behind the paywall at 4 p.m. Laffy and Adam will be back at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Live Before Lock with Edie and Chris Randone will be at 7:30 Eastern. Check out both of those things. NBA ownership free today. Make sure you're checking that out. One other plug, though. It's up on the screen right now. Head to Asimo_Comm. That's the Twitter account. Check out the pinned tweet we have. Doing a little bit of an NFL Thanksgiving giveaway. You could win a free year pass to Asimo Plus. That's $1,000 value. This is the biggest giveaway we have all year. If you can guess the total amount of points scored in the Cowboys-Bills game on Thanksgiving Day, you could win. We will choose from the winners. Just retweet, like, and reply to this tweet. You got to be following the Asimo_Comm and Asimo NFL accounts, but you got a chance to get a free yearly pass the whole year. You win this on Thanksgiving, you're going to have it till next Thanksgiving. That's a long time. Very long time. And all you have to do is just go check out a tweet. So head to twitter.com, find the Asimo_Comm Twitter account, and check out our pinned tweet. Closing it out, game 2 of 2 today. Denver Nuggets, Washington Wizards. The number 2 offense in the league, Washington Wizards. Sorry if I don't want to speak ill of them. 9.5 point favorites for the Nugs. We'll start on that Denver side. 10-8 for Jokic, 9,800 on DraftKings, 18-4 on Fantasy Draft, $40 on Yahoo. How you feeling about Jokic in this spot today?
Love him. Love the spot. Really, really fast-paced Washington team. Huge pace-up spot for Denver. Absolutely awful Washington defense. Thomas Bryant, Mo Wagner. All that you're really concerned about is that Wagner picks up like 4 charges again and Jokic gets in foul trouble, but like he did to Towns. But yeah, it's a great spot. The only question is, are you prioritizing him over like an $8,200 Paul George?
I would rather have George today on DK.
Yeah, it's really close for me. Like Luka is number 1, but then I don't know. I love Jokic here. It's just such a good spot for Jokic.
It really is. $1,600 more than Paul George is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't normally. I'm a pretty big Jokic guy. I'm just like largely indifferent. I'm clearly going to have him. I don't expect him to be the priority guy. Priority guy for me on DraftKings, honestly, it might end up being Gary Harris at this point on DK for 4,200.
Yeah, just because it's 4,200. Yeah,
it's not fun.
I mean, the minutes are there for Harris is the thing. Like he probably won't do anything, but he's going to play 34 to 36 minutes.
Yeah. Paul Millsap for 5,400, I think looks pretty good.
Agreed.
This is one of those days where I'd probably want to make sure that I have a little bit of Mason Plumlee because it's a 2-gamer.
That's what I was going to say, because for a couple of reasons. For one, if you're not getting a lot of Jokic, then you probably should be making sure you get the Plumlee just to try and like give yourself an easy path to a big night. Because if from a roster construction standpoint, you're not getting to a guy that can really easily break the slate like Jokic, you may as well negatively correlate as much as possible.
Yep.
So, and we know that Plumlee, I mean, at 3,800, Plumlee can be serviceable if he only plays 16 minutes. Yeah. If he gets to 20, he should be one of the better values.
Look, he's a point per minute guy. This isn't like how this stuff works, but I was able to salvage a garbage Alec Burks night last night with 18 fantasy points and still get to a winning lineup. Mason Plumlee is a 1.2 fantasy point per minute guy so far this season. Even if he does only get those 16 minutes of backup run, like, you're still getting there with close to 20 if he's just putting up a normal day.
Right.
But this could break really weird, and he ends up splitting 24 minutes apiece with Jokic because of foul trouble, and Plumlee goes for 38, and you are sitting there holding the bag. Shout out to TJ Dom's $10 super chat. You guys are killing it. Cashed in all my cashes and GPPs yesterday. Jared Allen, bullish call in live before lock was cash. Thanks, Josh. You're welcome, man. Glad to see you getting that paper too. Anything you don't like from the Denver side of like the guys that you are obviously like?
Yeah, I was gonna say like Bobo.
Bobo.
No, I think this is the best spot on the slate. Washington doesn't play defense; they play really fast. Denver has, for the most part, a pretty concentrated offense. Like Millsap and Harris aren't high usage guys, but they're also really cheap. You know that the highest scorer on the team is most of the time going to be either Jokic or Murray. So I think that Denver's just the best team tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, of the five, so let's rank the 5 Denver guys. Like the 5, starters. Jokic, Murray, Millsap, Barton, Harris. Put them in order for me.
As far as guys, like how much I think I'll have or who I would like to have the most of? Because I think that's a really different question.
Both?
Okay, because I mean, Jokic is the guy that I want the most of, but
sure.
I don't think that'll be the case. I think Harris is the guy I'll have the most of.
Okay, I agree.
I would like Murray to be my second highest owned guy. I think Millsap's my second highest owned guy.
You are reading this off in my perfect order right now.
Right. And then like Barton I'm happy with whatever Barton I get, but I think he ends up being behind those guys.
I agree. As of the way that it looks right now, I'm expecting Jokic to be the guy that I have the least, even though he's the guy that I want the most.
Gotta be so scared if I don't have a lot of Jokic.
I'll be okay with it, I think. I mean, it won't be fun, but in that specific instance, I don't think he's going to show up, which means that I'm going to try to get a little bit more Mason Plumlee.
He's in 3 of my 10 top projected lineups on DraftKings right now with no randomness or anything.
Let's see where he's at for me. You did 10?
Yeah.
He's in 0.
Harris is in all of mine. Millsap's in 3. And then Murray is in 1.
Harris in all 10. Porzingis and Doncic in all 10. Millsap in 7. That's all I have of the Nuggets. Gonna have to pay close attention to Denver, though. Let's head to your boys, the Wizards. A little bit of a pace down spot. We've got Beal at 9,700, 9,300 on DK. Stop me if you've heard this one before. On a team that isn't very good, Bradley Beal is playing 40 minutes a game. 41, 42, 38, 39 and a half, 37, 39, 39, 41. Running that bad boy into the ground.
Yeah, 31.1% usage. Even since Isaiah joined the starting lineup, Beal's at 29.9% usage, 27.6% assist percentage.
What do you want to do with him here? Tough spot, honestly.
Really tough spot. Huge pace down spot for Washington. Quality defensive team in Denver. His ceiling's obviously really high, but it's going to be really hard for me to get there over Kawhi, George, Jokic, Luka. Yeah. I think unless we have like a really low ownership projection on Beal, he's probably the guy that I fade out of that group of expensive players.
Yeah, he's the one where I wouldn't be mad if he was picking up a bunch of ownership. I'm terrified of this spot for him. He's been great.
Like if I lose the slate because Beal's 25% owned and scores 60 fantasy points at Denver, then oh well.
Yeah. The real play in this game, especially from Washington, Thomas Bryant is $5,800 on DraftKings. I have him in for 29 minutes. That number could go higher. Could easily go lower too, but what do you want to do with Thomas Bryant, particularly on DK at 5,800?
I think it's kind of similar to the Denver situation where I think Bryant's a really good play, and if he fails, there's a good chance that Mo Wagner is a good play.
Yep.
They're splitting 48 minutes. Scott Brooks actually said before Sunday's game that he wants them to play alongside each other. He just hasn't done it yet because he's afraid Wagner will get in foul trouble and then he won't have a backup center.
I saw that.
Yeah, so that's something that I'm obviously not projecting it, but that's something that I'm watching for. And as soon as it happens, I'm gonna be really happy because it means we can play more Wagner. But yeah, they're both cheap enough where Bryant, I think you project for 28. I'll project Wagner for 20. But if Wagner were to get to like 24 or 25, he would end up being a great play too.
I have him in for 29 and 19 right now, but I'll adjust those just to make sure that they're both showing up. Like, I'm not particularly... I know that I want to have both of those guys showing up in crunches, so I'll figure out whatever that minutes combination is that makes that happen. But 5,800 for Bryant, that's a broken price. If he hits the amount of minutes you need him to hit. Like, 4,500 for Mo Wagner is not a great price for him on DraftKings. He's 4,500.
No, you need him to actually... You actually need that Bryant foul trouble.
Yeah. Would Bryant be your favorite guy from the Wizards?
Troy Brown at 3,500.
Ugh, that's brutal.
Just as far as, for the same reason Gary Harris is my favorite guy from the Nuggets.
So what are you expecting for Troy Brown's minutes? Because he seems to continue to get some love from a chalk play, but he's not playing all that much.
Yeah, they keep playing guys over him, which is annoying. Davis Bertans is closing, but yeah. So he only played 15 minutes against Sacramento. I've been projecting him for 26, but then he just never gets there.
Yeah. I have him in for 20 right now. I couldn't figure out a way to give him anything more without just lying about it.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Looking at Sacramento's game more, Jordan McRae got a ton of run, which is something that we hadn't been seeing. But if he's going to get a bunch of run off the bench too, that's going to make it even harder.
Yeah, it's
because Bertans is playing, or not, but more often than not, Bertans is playing 28 to 30 minutes and closing. He is a great 3-point shooter. The Wizards need it. It's a great fit. So he should be projected to be in the closing lineup.
Yeah.
And so that means that at least one of Rui or Bryant's not going to be in there.
Right.
They closed against Sacramento. They closed with Ish and Isaiah Thomas. Actually, I remember that now. I tweeted about it and made fun of it. Yeah. Yeah, they went Ish, Isaiah, Beal, Berton, and Bryant to close.
That is a lethal backcourt.
Surprisingly, it didn't work.
How much? Let's see. If they played a lot of possessions together,
I think that was the first time they've done it all year.
Find out. Ish and Isaiah Thomas, do they show up with a lineup? They've played 31 possessions together. They are plus 32 in those possessions. 148.4 offensive rating. Unsurprisingly, a 116 defensive rating, which is 12th percentile. Not shocked to see the Ish Smith, Isaiah Thomas backcourt get roasted defensively.
Was Beal on there too?
I don't know. All of the combinations, none of those combinations have played 15 possessions together, so they don't show it. I could add Beal and see if it changes. No, Beal wasn't in half of them. They've played 16 possessions with all three.
According to what? Yep, I got the same thing. 8 minutes, 16 possessions of Beal, Isaiah, and Ish on the floor at the same time.
Yes. How do you feel about Isaiah and or Ish in this spot? Isaiah for 4,600 feels pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I agree. I'll project him for 28 minutes. We've been seeing some games where he's getting 28 to 30, other games where he's getting less. But 4,600, I think that there's pretty decent upside there, even though I hate the matchup. And I wouldn't play him and Ish in any lineups together because I don't expect that closing lineup to be a normal occurrence.
No, you don't think they're going to run that back out there?
I hope not. Normally, you're going to get either Troy Brown or Rui as that last guy over Ish.
Right. Probably not Troy Brown at this rate. Although,
right.
If only. Alrighty. That's 2 games. Let's hit it up overall. Biggest likes on DraftKings today. Who are the guys you expect to have the most of as of right now?
Luka, Porzingis, Harris, Kawhi, if he plays. Yeah.
Luka, Porzingis, Harris, Thomas Bryant, Paul Millsap. Those will be the 5 that I think I have the most on DK. On FanDuel, is anything else slightly different? No, it's not. I like Beal a little bit more on FanDuel, I guess, just because there aren't shooting guard options. Here's shooting guard today of everybody that I have projected in. Beal, Lou Will, Gary Harris, DeLon Wright, Jordan McRae, Rodney Magruder, Malik Beasley. As far as I'm concerned, there are like 3.5 shooting guards. So
yeah, that's pretty bad. That is not good.
Like there's a non-zero amount of DeLon Wright that I'm probably going to want to get to, and that's it. That is a real rough go at shooting guard tonight on FanDuel.
There's almost as many guys that I'm going to project for 0 minutes as there are for more than 0.
Oh my god! I expect to have 200% exposure going to Beal, Lou Will, and Gary Harris.
Yeah.
Good luck. All right, guys. 2 games up, 2 games down. Adam and I will not be back on Thursday because it's Thanksgiving and there is no basketball. So you and I won't be back on a show again until a week from today. You've got the deeper dive coming up later tonight. Going to be a monster show tomorrow. Deeper dive, live before lock, combo. People getting out of work early, coming to watch. We've got a gigantic slate. Really excited for tomorrow, but we still have today to get through. Tune in to all of our content for the rest of the day. Subscribe to our podcast feed where you can get these shows in audio form immediately after they're finished. You can get that wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, what have you. Adam, anything else?
Nope.
There it is. Thanks for joining us, guys. Best of luck today. We're out of here.